All right, here we are on example number 2. I'm going to go a little bit more quickly on this one than I did on number 1. So if you haven't watched number 1 yet, definitely check that out and make sure that you have a good understanding of how this process works. But we're going to go through using our tools of how to read music that we figured out of rhythm, notes, and style. And then we're going to put that all together and see if we can count through it and sort of sing the piece how it should go. And then I'll demonstrate it on my clarinet at the end as well. So first things first, we have to get the rhythm. So counting through this, we know that we start on 1. And feel free, if you want to pause it and try to figure out the rhythm on your own, I highly encourage that. That's a great practice to work on figuring these out on your own. So we start on 1. These are eighth notes. So the next eighth note is going to be and. The next eighth note is going to be 2. And then and. Now we're on beat 3, but we have 16th notes rather than 8th notes. So we know 16th notes are counted 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a. So we're going to do 3E, and then an 8th note on the and. And then this is an 8th rest that lands on beat 4. I like to put the rests in parentheses, as you probably noticed in the rhythm videos. And then we have our last 8th note on the and. Now, you may have noticed that I forgot to do something first before we started counting these. Do you know which part of the rhythm process I forgot and which one I did not do before I just jumped into counting it? If you said figure out the time signature or the meter, you are correct. I just looked at 4/4 and just knew how 4/4 works, but it's really important to always figure out what the time signature is, because then we don't know how many beats are in the measure if we don't know what the time signature is. So first, always check that, in this case it's 4/4. No matter what the time signature is, check it to make sure that you know how many counts are going to be in the measure. So we have 4/4, and luckily we did count it right because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter notes in this measure. So that's great. Let's keep going. And again, we have some pattern where these are 1 and 2 and, starting with our 8th notes. And then this same 16th note thing on beat 3, 3E and. But this time it also happens on beat 4, 4E and. Now we have a bunch of 16th notes, which you're an expert at counting. 1E and a, 2E and a. Then our normal 8th notes, 3 and 4 and. Pardon my bad computer handwriting. And then we go on to the end, 8th. Now this 8th note takes up the whole first 8th note, which means that the next note is going to be on the and. But we're not just going straight to 2 because these are 16th notes, so we still have more in this beat that's So you can think about this if we had our 4 16th notes, 1E and a. In this case, the first 2 got grouped together into an 8th note, so we have 1 and a. Whereas this beat 3 in the first measure, instead of 4 16th notes, now the last 2 are getting grouped together, 3E and. So that's how that's working. And then we do it again on beat 2. And then we have our long half note. I usually draw a little dash to show that that starts on 3 and goes through 4, so we can still see all of our quarter note beats happening. Now, what's the next step for figuring out the rhythm? We know the time signature, we know how the counts actually work within the measure. What is missing to make this the correct rhythm? And if you said steady beat, you are correct. So let's get our steady beat going. I'm actually going to do this with a metronome as well. Let's see. I'm going to go with 60 on the metronome. Nice, comfortable speed to feel how the rhythm works and to get it right without having to worry about going too fast. So there's our steady beat. The steady beat's landing on the numbers. Now let's try counting it. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3E and 1 and 2 and 3E and 4E and 1E and a 2E and a 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3. So notice I just said 3, but I made sure it's sustained through 3, another beat, done, because this is a half note. You can also just sort of sing through it and say 4. 3, 4. But make sure that it's really clear that this is a half note that goes through both beats rather than 2 quarter notes. So that's how this rhythm counts. If you weren't able to keep up, that's totally okay. Feel free to pause the video, use your own steady beat or metronome to count through it. You can go slower if you need to. You can just rewind and try again if you were close but not quite. But make sure that you're always taking the time to really get comfortable with the rhythm. Now, moving on to notes. The notes for this one are, we have a lot of sort of scale patterns going down. Just looking at the contour really quickly, we have some leaps here, some back and forth, do-do-do, do-do-do, sort of back and forth. Ooh, a longer scale down and up. So that's kind of the rough contour. Then we can also look at sort of what our anchor notes might be. You notice there's a lot of notes that land here on the top line. Almost every measure, actually every single measure has them, and the last measure is only that note. So that might be an important note to look at, and let's figure out what that note actually is. So we're in G clef, so this is our G line. As we go up, we're counting forwards through the alphabet, so G, and then we don't go on to H because there's no H in the musical alphabet. We loop back around to A, and then B. Also notice we do have a key signature on this one. That's going to affect the notes. So this line is the B line, and this is a flat symbol on the B line. So every B is going to be flat. So we're here at B flat. Go up another one. That's C. Go up another. Forwards through the alphabet is what? D. Another forwards through the alphabet is E. And then we're landing here on our note. One more note forwards through the alphabet, which is F. Exactly right. So now we know that this is F, not the fortissimo F, but the note F. And then we're going down one step at a time, backwards through the alphabet. F, backwards to E, backwards to D, backwards to C. And then we jump back up to that sort of anchor note that we started on. So we don't even have to count back up. We already know that that's F because it's the same. And then we go up. Forwards through the alphabet. What's one letter forwards from F in the alphabet? G. Great. And then right back to F. And we have the rest. We don't have to worry about the note on the rest because no note happens on the rest. And then we're down a step to E. So that's pretty quickly how the notes work. From there, you can continue to figure it out. In fact, F, E, D, C are pretty much the only 4 notes for most of the piece. If we look at that as sort of our main notes, we have F, E, F, D, C. We get down to C here, still within F, E, D, C. And then we have our long scale F, E, D, C. Now we have a new note. So we're continuing to go down, backwards through the alphabet. So what note is this one? Did you say B? If you said B, you're very close. B is halfway right, but there's something else about this B, and it's the key signature. So this is actually a B flat. So if you said B flat, you're 100% correct. If you said B, you're almost correct. It's B flat because of the key signature. And then we're back to our C, D, E, F range. Back to C, F. So you can see for this piece, we really only need to figure out the first 4 notes and then this note here, and all of the other notes are a repeat of that. Now let's try singing along on La to get the contour of the notes. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we're going to try to sort of sing going down, 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 back up to where we started, up again, down again, sort of getting that contour. So let's try singing this on La, nice and slow. 2, ready, go. La 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 la. La 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 la. And notice that's still a whole half note, even when you're singing. I did this slur actually, which is starting to think about the style, which is our next step, of course. We have that long slur. I was doing the articulations with the laws. There's not a lot of dynamic information on this one. Now again, that doesn't mean that we just do boring dynamics where it just stays the same the whole time. Maybe we have a little bit of our own dynamics. Maybe for this I might like to do a little diminuendo as we go down. That's pretty normal in music. As it goes down, you get softer, and as you go up, it gets louder. Not all the time, but that can be a nice starting point. So maybe we go down here, and maybe we crescendo up to this F, work our way down again, crescendo up to the F again, and then sort of come down. Maybe for this one, we're going to come down the whole time so that we have room to do a crescendo here. It's nice to start a crescendo soft so that you have room to actually get louder, and then I think this just stays steady here at the end. And you can see we follow the rule of going down and getting softer, but then we go up, but still get softer. So that's where it doesn't always follow that idea of going up is louder and going down is softer, but that's a great place to start. So now we have some dynamics. I think with these dynamics, it's still gonna stay loud, so we're not gonna go forte all the way down to piano. We're going to stay sort of within forte, but add a little bit of our own shaping and make the music a little bit more interesting and have that character to it. Remember, style is all about the character and the emotion that you're trying to convey. You know, speaking of the character and emotion, what do you think about the title to this? Do you know what a fanfare is? A fanfare you can think of as sort of announcing the king and queen when you have all of the trumpets doing their da 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 da, that kind of fanfare. It's loud, it's pretty strongly articulated. So with these little dynamics, we don't want to be too soft. We don't want our fanfare and our announcement to be soft. We want it to be strong still, but we can have some character and some interest and emotion behind the announcement still without it just being da 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 da, where it's really boring. So that's the style. You noticed I mentioned fanfares are usually pretty strongly articulated. And you may also notice that there's only one articulation actually written in this with the slur. But again, that means that we can be creative with deciding the articulation we want. You could do ta 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 ta, or t t t t, or da 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 da. All of those are possible options given that there's no marking at all. The composer isn't giving us information really on how we should articulate, so we get to be creative and come up with something that we feel fits the character of the piece. So I think knowing it's a fanfare, I think a little bit stronger. T, 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 maybe something like that fits. Don't you think that sounds kind of fanfare-like? Great. So let's try putting it all together now. We're going to sing through it. We're going to sing with our articulations. We're going to sing the counting. We're going to do it with a steady beat and try to do all of the music. So let me get my steady beat going on the metronome. Now let's try it. Ready? Go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3. So that's one example of how to sing this. You can try your own articulation. You could try going different tempos and changing the speed. Notice again, there's no tempo marking, so it's kind of up to you how fast you want to go. So feel free to experiment with those things. Find a good interpretation that you like. But let me try playing it on my clarinet now so you can hear how it sounds in actual music and not just my singing. So good luck learning this one. If there's any aspect of the rhythms, the notes, or the style things that you're not sure about, go back, think through it, come up with how you want the music to go, and the clearer image in your head you can have of the music, the better off you'll be.